Hello.
Hello, how are you?
All right, tired.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just sorry. I mean, if you just tell me what your plans are, and we'll try not to row, and then
like I said in the
Yeah.
email, I don't have any intention of rowing. I don't want to do that.
No, okay.
I know it's all, it's complex, but that's all to do with other stuff, and that doesn't matter now. I mean, what I was sort of thinking was because I mean, looking at what his sort of investments are, and like I said, I mean, obviously some of this is going to be subject to tax, but that the SIP thing, so the SIP bit of it, which is the bit that isn't taxable, is just under 75 grand, and the rest of the ones that will be part of the estate is just under 60 grand. So it's about 134,000 pounds. So what I was thinking, because I think the problem is, the main problem is, obviously the house is Dad's biggest asset, but because it's been split down the middle, the point is that, like I sort of said at the time when we were talking about it, the problem with that is it sort of means if you're going to split it, you have to sell the house, and because, like I say, I mean, the reason I was sort of trying to say about what I was thinking about the house is, and sort of I've been thinking about it for a while, obviously, is that, I mean, anyway, I mean, I know it shouldn't be for this reason, but I think it's sad, the thought of just selling the house for the money straight away on the back of, having just lost Dad, because it just sort of, it ends such a big part of a thing that's been there for so long. And while obviously you could, and also, and I know this shouldn't be the reason to do or not do a thing, but the thought of, the sort of having to sort the house out and empty the house and then, and sell it rather than, as I say, and again, this isn't the whole reason for it, but the idea of if we were to do something like that, it would, that level of sort of having to do that wouldn't really be there so much. But what I was sort of thinking was, if we were to say something like, and part of it is because I also, like, I would rather that we decided something fairly quickly and agreed on it and signed something about it, and then, because the problem is, if it's then it's done, and then we don't have to worry about what happens in the future, because if we've agreed this is what the principle is, then there's none. I mean, even the stuff that I was saying about money after, after you pass away, I would rather, to eliminate any of the sort of potential sort of stress or any of that stuff, even the stuff we were talking about yesterday, from being a part of it. If we can go, this is what we're happy with, this is what the arrangement is, then it's done, and we can actually move on, going ahead with the thing. But what I was sort of thinking was, if we were to do it, that you were to take all of those investments.
You said the 60 grand, though, you've got to pay inheritance on that.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I mean, subject to us working out what the tax thing is and how we go about this. Because the point as well is, obviously, the house is part of the estate, which will create that tax thing. But obviously, you won't, if you're keeping the house, you're not making that part of it. But I mean, I'll get to that. These are the sort of more finer details. But what I'm saying is, obviously we need to work out what the tax is going to be, how much it's going to be. But let's just say, I mean, on a conservative estimate, and I don't know how much it would be, if at the moment the combination of that, I will also email you all the paperwork, but the combination of that, 74,871 pounds, that's the bit that is outside of the estate that will not be taxed. 74871.47.
I'm trying to do my paper right now.
So, well, like I say, I will email you all of the actual paperwork.
I can get my head around it.
Yeah.
Can you lose the pen and you've just been using it?
Yeah.
Right, hang on, just get another pen. I'll put the phone down.
Okay.
Right. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've found one. So
this is the SIP thing, which is outside the estate, not taxable, and it's £74,871.47.
Right.
And that's the bit that's outside it. But on top of that, the other stocks and shares, which you can basically either cash straight away or you could continue to invest in if you wanted to, that equals £59,343 and 4 pence. Yeah. So, but obviously there's going to be tax on the whole thing, so we'd have to consider that into whatever we decide. But that total before tax is 134,214. So it's just under 135 grand. So, and the house at probate is 420,000. So, but because what I was going to suggest is if you took all of the investments, and that's I feel like I'm doing a game show. That's yours. That's in the bank. And we were to take the house, but we were to take it on the understanding that we did own the house rather than what I'm about to say being a chunk of the house if we sold it. But if we were to say something along the lines of, if we were to sell the house in your lifetime, if we were to give you the value of my flat, which is about 120,000, if we sold it in your lifetime. So that means that ultimately, I know you'd had part of it, because the point is, to do it half and half down the middle, including the house, there isn't enough to do that. I mean, because if I could say, you know, well, I'll take the house and you take the other equivalent amount of the value of the house, that just isn't there. But what I'm saying is, so if potentially we were to sell it in your lifetime, we'd give you that money. But if we signed this thing but rather than saying that it's that you own that stake in the house, it is that we own the house, so we can choose to do what we want to do with it. But we would give you that money when we sold it. So and then if what else was I going to say? If we don't sell it in your lifetime, then it remains as that. But if we sell it at any point, we give you that bit, which is, as I say, because the thing is, if we take the house, and if you take those investments in the situation that we're in, with the flat, and because bear in mind with the flat as well, there's still
mortgage off.
32 grand still has to go on the mortgage. So if either, because what we most likely would do is, because if we were keeping the house, then when I come back after Edinburgh, or, you know, we can start gradually moving stuff from the flat, and then eventually empty the flat, have it painted, have it sold, and then, because basically what will happen is, because there's still that amount of money on the mortgage anyway, and some of that money would go towards doing up the flat. What would remain, which is most likely going to be about £70,000 or whatever, would be the buffer that we would use, because the point is, it's a big house, and not just that, you know, we don't have money. The situation I'm in, I'm going to have to, when I sell the flat, I'm also going to have to pay off my debts as part of that because of the charging orders on it. So we're going to lose about 10 grand to that as well. Whatever we're left with is the sort of buffer that comes out to sort of, that we can enable me to not be in the situation I'm in now and us not be struggling. But what I'm saying is, as I say, rather than, because if I was to give you the flat that was given to me, we would have nothing. And the house, if we're not going to sell it and we're going to try and maintain it, we'd have nothing beyond. We'd be in the same. I mean, obviously we'd be in a better position because we would be paying a mortgage, but we would be paying all the council tax and all that sort of stuff when I don't have much of an income at the moment and the situation I'm in. So what I'm sort of saying is, you know, I would like to have a house and own it, so there's never this thing whereby it becomes a problem in the future where, you know, I don't know, we have an argument or something, and then it's like, oh, we need to sell the house. It's like, well, we can't sell the house.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that any of that would happen, but, you know, the point is, so like I'm saying, if we sold it in your lifetime, I would give you that money. And if we didn't sell it in your lifetime, obviously, we'd keep it. If I died before you, Gemma would be in the situation where it would be her house, but if she sold it, she would give you the same money that we'd agreed, and it was signed and agreed. But it also means that you would have the rest of those investments, and obviously, as I say, subject to the tax thing. And the only other thing I want to bear in mind as well is, for example, this thing with Edinburgh.